Minecraft Civilizations, the game mode where large amounts of players form huge teams and defend their land against other teams in hardcore mode. In this event, we divided 300 players into a huge custom world designed to take advantage of new shaders and ray tracing abilities. Those players were allowed to form alliances with other nations, but were not allowed to sabotage or betray their own teams. They were expected to build their own cities from the ground up, and if necessary, defend that land against any and all invaders. Everyone was given free will to do just about anything they wanted, which did include the ability to form cults and religions. Ultimately, we would see different civilizations rise and fall, as well as multiple sieges involving the entire server at one point or another. But first, we need to take a step back and look at how it all started in this great event. With a long grace period of 5 days, everyone had plenty of time to explore and loot this incredible custom map. It was divided into 4 equal-sized territories home to a unique biome that was heavily modified by me on a world originally created by McMedden. 3 of these biomes saw players basing around the same general areas, while the islands biome had split into 3 different settlements. The first and largest of these groups was the southern settlement, while most of the other players started the city of Ireland on the main island in the north. The last and smallest of these factions was Drugboat, who started work on a ship with the intention of selling illegal items for the 3rd season in a row. Other teams built in more predictable areas, such as the Plateau team basing around their glowing mountain, which was really cool to see. The Volcano team, however, would disappoint me and the mods, and end up committing the first true crime of this event.
Cody, they disappoint me. They flooded the lava.
Oh, that is so bad. You guys got rid of the entire lava crater? That is so cringe. A couple of other Volcano players would commit actual crimes by griefing the farms, and would quickly face justice for their actions less than 1 hour into the event. Things would turn more positive in the Volcano biome as the team captured a Zoglin to keep as a pet and team mascot, while others started work on cool builds. The Ice team also surprised me by choosing not to settle in any of the Ice Spike Mountains, and instead opting to take over a village in the corner of the world. It was there that they would find the map's largest loot structure, along with all of its threats that awaited. They would also discover a series of dungeons and mob spawners below their village, and spent a lot of time mapping them out over the coming days. In Plateau, players also had a range of loot structures to explore across their land, and would spend their time traveling around it before coming back to base around different sides of the Glowing Cracks mountain. At first this meant a main farming area at the base of the mountain near spawn, but players would gradually build up the face of the mountain with individual builds and walkways that expanded over time. This also meant people constantly water bucketing up and down the mountain, triggering many Plateau players into launching an investigation to punish people for ruining farms and simply making things ugly.
Why is Pizza saying?
I'm going for the incident on the fire. I don't have the new costume enchanting.
I can't hear him.
Yeah, I don't even know what he's saying.
Get out of the water, bro. I can't hear you underwater.
Oh my god. No, seriously, I did not do this. I did not do this. I swear to God, I didn't do it.
Who did it then? Who did it? Spill it.
Wait, just to prove I was in the enchantment all the time.
It was Sid.
Yes, it was Sid.
No, you weren't. You were on top. I literally saw you on top.
I saw Sid's be one of them, but...
So even so, you guys my inventory. I do not have I do not have a water bucket, dude. I swear to God, please. Like, the island screenshot my inventory. I do not have it. I swear. Can I please be released, man? I didn't do anything. I was simply...
Loki, I think we should just kill Luke and call it a day.
Nah, bro. I swear. I can't do anything.
Striker, I'm gonna be real. I agree. Sorry.
Yeah,
How about we hold a trial? How about we hold like a proper trial?
I was in the ancient room. I was in the ancient room 24/7, bro. I swear to God, please don't kill me.
All in favor, say aye.
Get
him out of here.
Come on, everyone let's just...
You cannot betray.
I didn't do anything,
No, definitely has MCS.
Plateau would hold multiple executions throughout the event, whose players would later tell me that they looked for any excuse to kill someone. And loot their items. The first several days would develop more peacefully for the Ice and Islands biomes, though everyone would eventually face some sort of team griefing or assassination attempt at one point or another. Before those times, however, we would see a strong building theme in Islands, where players incorporated the increased emerald ore and verdant froglite spawns into all of their builds. This included a lot of shrines to the greenest member of the mod team, Hexif, who could only watch on in horror as certain players became absolutely obsessed. These players didn't know it at the time, but each team would be able to recruit mods to join them during base sieges who would all be given the same gear for those moments. Island players had made their choice obvious, while others were a little less concerned.
I've done an extra here.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, like 100%. He's just like mined down into diamonds. Like 3
He's
times.
looking at the ceiling.
Trail. He mined straight into a.
Oh, he's digging straight down. He's digging straight down. Oh, diamonds.
Oh
Diamonds.
my god, bro.
All of the other players could run for leader in their teams, with one being elected in each biome. The Ice Nation was the first team to choose their leader, and also the only team to make good use of their beacon, which was a new part of this event's leader rewards. They would use it primarily underground to mine deep slate and other blocks with mining haste, which would be stored and later used to fuel the construction of a huge tower. In Islands, a proper election was held in their newly constructed town hall, with different candidates giving in-game speeches to appeal to the crowd.
There's nobody in Ireland.
Speech now.
Okay.
Wait, and go myself. Alright, so I believe that I should be elected leader because I am very good at the militaristic style. Because the way that we survive is not through food, it is not through art, it is through the defense and how we keep each other safe.
Hello, you should vote for me because we are going to win if we try. We can win if we try. We could win if we try.
I like murder.
Hello, I am Remix Raptor. You can call me Remix. You can call me Raptor. But I would love to be called president.
I'll bring us victory and prosperity. I will lead you to victory against the other nations. I will make sure that everyone has full diamond armor by at least day 5.
Yo, how are you gonna like accomplish anything you just said?
Volcano had a similar approach, but most players there already knew which individual they were going to elect as leader, since many of their players were a part of the Rizzler Civ group. Instead, Volcano players focused on more important issues like building Lord of the Rings style towers and a McDonald's.
We can't get attacked because there's a disclaimer right here.
If we did kill someone with the McDonald's, we can't like get banned for team kill.
Yeah, come here, Cody. I'll kill you.
Cody, what do you like more, McDonald's or Taco Bell?
That's a good question, Okay, disabling soundboards right now. Another funny moment from the Volcano team involved a player being trapped underground with a warden.
Well, I'm stuck in a wall. Please help.
A rescue mission was called in, which resulted in a few deaths, including the temporary loss of the King's Crown, as their leader, King Giga, was one of the players who died. Other players would continue to die from a lack of healing, as food shortages plagued the Volcano biome in their hostile environment. At this point in the event, all teams had each chosen the leader, with the Plateau biome's leader items changing hands several times based on player availability. This would leave someone in charge every day to help organize and run the team, which previously had been slightly split into 2 settlements around the mountain. Those settlements were connected by a huge tunnel project by the Anarchist faction, who would then start working on their own house at the other side of that tunnel. We also saw the completion of an epic dragon statue that overlooked the peak of the mountain on this 3rd day, which was built primarily by their leader, I Am Mindless, with others working on a defensive base below it. One of those players made an interesting journey to the Volcano biome to discuss diplomatic relations. This player didn't represent the full Plateau team, especially since he was previously executed, but he did represent around a third of the Plateau nation. They actually had about 3 different groups within them, but everyone had been happy and calm enough to unite under one banner. But with this somewhat secret meeting, things were starting to look a little uncertain. The other nation with 3 factions had slowly been centralizing around the city of Ireland, with the majority of Emerald Town players leaving while Jugboat remained at their ship. This increase in population led to several new developments in their civilization, including the creation of a brand new prison. Thankfully, they didn't have to use it much, as their players largely got along and were more concerned with farming potatoes and worshipping the mods. And selling drugs. Things would be a little less eventful in the ice biome, where build progress was finally visible using the mass amount of deep slate blocks the team had been gathering. A few of those builds were powder snow pitfall traps created by one of their players, who didn't do a very good job telling his teammates about them because they kept falling into it randomly from time to time. Because of this, those traps were removed before hardcore started later in the event. We also saw the completion of several new builds in Volcano, where their own dragon statue had just been completed. This dragon overlooked all of the finalized pathways, which now connected nearly all of their nether-themed builds. A new project that was separated from the main area had also begun construction. This tower was meant to be a defensive stronghold for the Volcano team, and was being built by the same player who had already contributed multiple cool towers to the team's city. With the final day of peace in the event, all teams raced to finish their war bases, as well as gear up their remaining players. This meant the Volcano, Ice, and Islands teams were scrambling to get their last blocks placed, with an additional unused base being started in the Islands biome, which meant they now had a total of 5 different settlements. Their main efforts, however, would focus on the siege castle led by Microwave Man. This castle was located in the southeast corner of their biome, which would see many players travel to and log off there at the end of the day. Sadly, none of those players would visit the new bar that had just been built in the ice biome. One player there decided to hollow out and take over one of the area's floating ice spike balls and offered free drinks to everyone on his team who could survive until the end. The rest of those ice players were busy working on the big tower, which had become an all-hands-on-deck operation. Anyone and everyone could contribute to its construction in an amazing effort that would just barely be finished as the final minutes of the server came to an end. Likewise, the Islands biome finished surrounding their castle with lava, while the Volcano team failed to complete their tower, which was largely being worked on by 2 people. They did, however, complete a floating pirate ship in the sky above their base. In Plateau, we saw the completion of several individual builds, including what was called the Anarchy Hype House by the Anarchist faction. This would cap off an otherwise uneventful final 2 days, as all 4 teams had focused on completing projects and obtaining gear, and simply had fun while remaining isolationist from each other. Even alliances and rumors about war were scarce, as the vast majority of players didn't know what to expect going forward. The only known tensions between teams were from Volcano and Ice, while everyone else appeared to be neutral towards each other. Earlier in the week, Volcano had declined an alliance offering from them, which would lead to growing suspicion between those 2 sides. With borders being open and hardcore enabled, every team had an uneasy start to the 6th day. Every biome saw its players amassing at castles and towers as the threat of the unknown loomed over everyone's heads. Some individuals would continue building projects like nothing had changed, while others rushed to finish enchanting their gear. It didn't take long for the first aggressive move of the day, which was a trio of Plateau players separating from the rest of the team to attack the Islands biome. To their disappointment, they would find an empty city of Ireland as all of its players had left to seek the safety of their team's siege castle. This left the invaders with nothing to do but grief the area, while the rest of Plateau also started to move into both of the other biomes. As it would turn out, it wasn't just the mods who thought Volcano had the coolest builds. Volcano's builds were actually so good that every other team decided to visit them because they just had to see it for themselves. Jokes aside, a large group of Plateau players peacefully traveled to Volcano to join them in their defense of the biome, as word about a gathering storm in the ice region had gotten out. The other half of Plateau had actually joined the ice biome, along with a battalion of Islands fighters who were all joining together for a massive assault on Volcano. So as the attacking players gathered and a declaration of war was given, the mods chose their sides in the conflict as the leader of Volcano gave a big speech to address their combined forces.
Alright, listen guys, as you know we have enemies out there that want to come and kill us, and we can't back down. When it comes to fighting 5 people and you're getting surrounded, then your true colors will show it. We gotta protect our land, no matter how many members or how many enemies we have in front of us. We cannot run back because this is the only option we have. We either fight or give up, and we all rather fight to the death, right? And when I ask of you, my people, is to fight no matter the cost, because if you look to your left, you look to your right, you see the people around you. These are the people that you're gonna fight alongside with, right? These are the people that are gonna die next to you, and you gotta remember, you see everything that you have on you. You know how hard we worked for this? All the hardships that we went through to build our land from the ground up. We cannot die so easily. Even if we're facing a losing battle, we will not yield in the face of the enemy. And you, my people, keep fighting no matter the cost, no matter what happens, we will not give up.
The end is approaching, and death is encroaching, and here I am, we're approaching, but we all know how that's gonna go. I beg for favor, you could be my savior. I've been on my best behavior, but we all know how that's gonna go.
They're here! Everybody!
They're here! Oh my god!
Everyone, listen!
Shoot them!
Hey!
They're underneath us!
They're coming into the water.
Remember what we planned.
Go, Mangle!
Mango, get up here! Mango, get up here! Get up here, Mango! Mango, get up here! Mango!
I got knocked off. I had to enter pro away. I'm running.
Don't run, fight.
Guys, watch out! They're here, they're coming across the stone bridge.
Oh.
Look northwest.
Remember, guys, this is why we train, right?
There's somebody building up right now. There's someone swimming up.
We got this, guys. No need to be scared against these fools.
I hit the same person 4 times. Wait. Oh my god.
Stop fighting.
Look out! I dropped into your guy.
Fight for your last breath.
I died. It doesn't matter. Keep fighting, guys. Keep
Fight! Kill him! Yes!
Oh, they're here.
Doesn't matter. Keep fighting. No matter how many fools. Keep fighting.
No! This has been told to run. Don't run. Either we win here.
There's green people down there. Yeah.
Fight! Don't just look at them.
I'm dead, guys.
Oh! Behind you, Pete.
On our team there.
Everybody's dying.
After facing an invasion by the rest of the server, the remaining Volcano players would be hunted down, resulting in a 90% loss in player count in just one day. The battle itself was made much worse by the fact that Plateau players were fighting on both sides, causing mass confusion between the defenders. There were multiple times Volcano and Plateau players accidentally went after each other, while the invading forces could simply target anyone with a red name tag. Not all of the invading biomes players participated in the war, as many individuals on the island's biome in particular decided to remain at their castle. Other players would continue peacefully going about their day, while some ventured out to try their luck on the battlefield. Several random smaller fights took place around the map, but it was the Ice team who would surprise everyone by throwing out their alliance with Islands and instead sending their army to its main defensive base. The Islands players amassed at their fortress were ready, but unfortunately for them, their teammates in the fighting group who invaded Volcano were nowhere to be seen.
They're here, front side. They're in the front, by the gravel trap. They're not going
One soul in the trap.
Oh my god, get him lava, he's just in the lava, bro.
Yo, place water, west.
Yo, they're just standing there, bro. They're just standing there menacingly.
Where?
Don't let them advance to the front, though. They're trying to flank, probably. Or they're digging under us. They might be digging under us.
They're to the left.
He's under.
From the land down under.
He's in the bottom, north, on the north.
Okay, we're gonna pull the trap. Ready.
There's people down there fighting him.
Yeah, they're up. We're up.
They're up. My dogs, bro.
I'm pulling lava.
Get in. Okay, get in. Get in.
Oh my god, how many kids are over
Get him. Yo, this is it. Don't get pushed to a wall. We're getting pushed to a wall.
Oh damn, they're going.
Up here.
We fight till the end.
Bro, I just hit 7. He took no damage.
Stand apparently above us.
Pearl in above. Wait, tower.
Bro,
They're coming. We're in the tower.
Hold the lava doors again. We have 3
Oh shoot!
One man down.
Get out. They're chasing.
I am getting chased. Oh my god.
We can't go to Iowa with a drug boat. Guys, we cannot go with a drug boat. Drug boat, where y'all at?
Falling to the invasion by ice, all surviving players from the island's castle moved north to meet up with the last standing faction in their biome, Drugboat. Those players didn't have any type of defensive structure built, but that wouldn't stop the rest of their team from trying to get everyone to meet up there as the server transitioned to the next day. This included the players from Ireland who had chosen to hide underground, as well as the fighters who had been elsewhere. Over in Plateau, however, we would actually see the team split again, as a handful of its players left to create their own team similar to how the Anarchists had, further dividing the biome. Those divided players would fight each other several times throughout the day, which mostly ended in stalemates and players retreating. It was back in the islands biome where the main action would take place, after ice players eventually discovered the coordinates of Drugboat, leading to a traditional battle on the surrounding islands.
Oh wait, oh wait.
Hey, they're coming!
Wait.
No, wait, hold on.
Die.
Yes! Get him!
He in front out. Oh, no, not too far.
Fuck, okay,
Go
I'm going.
forward.
We're chasing him off!
Yeah!
Kick
Get out of here! Get leave!
You're not welcome here. There's people just vibing, I guess.
We're gonna wait for...
They're waiting for backup. They just...
They're waiting for backup. Oh,
Yeah, I think we'll just wait here.
We outnumber them.
They're pulling up!
They're coming back, guys. They're coming back.
Okay, do we have any bows?
Any ice people, kill them. No remorse.
We make our stand here. Make our stand here, alright?
Holy Jesus, there's a lot of people.
Yeah, just run, bro.
I can't believe the tall grass.
They're coming from the water. They're coming from the water.
Go.
Get back. They keep running away and going back at them. We'll have to die off eventually.
I'm out of here.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Raptor!
Yeah, just leave.
Frog. Should I do it?
Just go.
No,
They're gonna be coming.
Just go.
You gotta go.
Listen to me now, alright? Okay, so the people who escape, hide and run. Just hide right now. You'll fight another time, alright? Right now, you're just gonna run.
Calling a retreat rather early into the fight, Islands players split up and ran, and in one case were able to do so at lightning speeds.
We're out of there.
They would later regret this decision, but luckily for them, they actually avoided losing hardly any players as a result. Instead, some of their fighters found themselves at an advantage against the ice attackers during moments where they could get even numbers or a numbers advantage during smaller encounters. A large part of this was caused by the fact that so many of Ice's forces were tied up chasing one player that it made things much easier for everyone else. Many of those islands players and other individuals would find new homes far away from the fighting. For some, this meant hiding out underground, or changing teams in hopes of finding safety that way. In one strange case, a pair of Islands players chose to permanently live in a bunker, standing in one exact spot for an entire day. I tried asking them what they were doing, but the only response I got was that they still followed their old leader who had previously died in one of the wars. So yeah, I have no idea. Plateau was still busy having their civil war, which was mostly a resource war at this point since both sides were burning through golden apples with only a few casualties on either side. Their fights along with the ice ones would eventually slow down, however, as the end of the 7th day approached. Feeling like they had won wars against all their enemies, the ice players decided to celebrate by building a large dinner table with the intention of inviting all surviving players for a feast. This effort was made to signify world peace, but it was a world peace given to themselves while also self-appointing their own team as the winners. The other remaining players did not take kindly to this, and instead we actually saw the Plateau biome end its civil war and agree to reunite back onto the same team.
Lunchables, give a speech.
Give us a speech.
Yes, let him speak. In chat.
Speech. Say something in chat. Lunchables, give us a speech. Somebody kill Lunchables.
Despite their previous differences, they even went as far as to seek an alliance with Islands with the sole purpose of taking out the Ice Nation and figuring out what to do from there. But as they marched towards the ice biome to meet up with their new allies, the first death of the day would involve neither of those teams, and instead would be the most unique death I've ever seen in one of these events.
I miss the old Emerald Island.
He tied to a bush is wild.
Bro, this guy actually just died to that.
Died to a sweet berry bridge.
That's actually wild to die from a sweet berry bush.
No.
There's no way.
That bush guy.
Bush got Nico.
You know he did that intentionally.
He had to. Ain't no way you can actually die from the sweet berry.
Shortly after this, the remaining Plateau players met up with the main force at Volcano before moving on to the ice biome. Ice players were ready for this attack and had nearly all amassed at their tower. One of their players died in the village below, however, as the Islands team had decided to attack early before their Plateau allies had even gotten there. And with this invasion, a final siege to determine the winners of this event, as peace was no longer an option.
It seems like everybody's above.
Okay.
They are.
fine.
Yeah, they're all the way to the top, so they can't even hit us with arrows.
Yeah. Hold on. Break everything. Make sure no one can go up the tower. Make sure no one can go up the tower.
I'm standing right here. Alright, where's Luke? Look where you're at, Luke.
I'm just greasing their base. Time to commit arson. Help me.
Oh, okay, break the cake, guys.
There's no way.
Not the cake.
No, guys, come up here, because then whenever they try to come in for reinforcements, we can just drop them. There's no one here. They're all up in the tower.
You guys want to slowly push up and...
That's what I was trying to do, but then you guys were like, no, let's back off.
I want to push that top area until we have them.
Okay, I'm gonna slowly... Wait, let's just chill more. I'm gonna...
Yeah, be careful of TNT mine parts. Be careful of TNT mine parts.
This guy right here, in the wall, this guy right here.
What's her name?
Oh, Luke's building up on this side now. Right here, someone puts a cart right here. We need a cart right here.
But not someone else.
Not yet.
Guys, they're right here. They're making progress. I think we need to get down. My cart. Yeah, get on my cart.
Okay, so both black and green are attacking right now.
Yeah, I don't worry.
Yeah, they're basically the same team. Don't worry about it.
They're right below me.
Yeah, I see you. Watch out, guys, they're about to be up.
Go.
Oh, do you really?
Not yet.
Oh, what the?
Now. Do.
Wait, TNT microwave.
Where is it?
Ollie,
I fell all the way down.
I'm dead.
Oh yeah, we.
Okay, they're strong.
Guys, don't let them up.
I made a run for it.
Yeah, good.
With their tower being overrun, the majority of ice players retreated and successfully escaped to fight another day. Except there wasn't another day, as this was the last one of the event. This led the players of all three sides to treat the final hours like a team deathmatch since peace had long been abandoned. Instead, we would see the plateau biome call off their truce with islands and attack them randomly, as all three biomes repeatedly tried getting the jump on one another. This mostly resulted in lots of long, boring chases, but there would still be a few funny moments along the way.
Like history, where is he? Is he at the very bottom of the thing?
I'm down with him. He's running. Why is he scared of me?
Of course. Bro, no way this guy's running from someone without a chest plate.
Why is he scared?
Here's Johnny.
A different chase occurring at the same time was a few Islands players hunting a rogue plateau member. That player smartly utilized the map's high custom terrain and knocked back weapons to his advantage, making every move by the attackers a huge risk.
1400.
Oh
Guys,
god.
we need to
Bro, why are you risking it so much?
Got it. I'm heading that direction.
Make sure you're not going down,
I'm going a long way.
He's docked.
Where are you?
Where? I heard he's swimming. He's swimming up another one. He's just swam up this one.
Jesus
Whoever wants to
Christ.
chase him.
Oh, no, I'm dead.
I have half a heart.
I'm like 100 blocks.
I got them off. So this way.
He's chasing.
That's the second time Golden has hit a water bucket clutch from so far.
Hit him off. Golden.
Fuck. I'll get the other guy. You get the other guy.
He's dead.
Yeah, I saw that. One player had successfully escaped a hunt underground, but made the crucial mistake of streaming his POV on Discord. This allowed the hunter It's Luke to figure out exactly where he was hiding by looking at his own username appearing through the walls on his screen. The reason this was possible was due to the Plateau team splitting apart and forming new alliances several times throughout the final days of this event in their attempt to come out on top. Unfortunately for them, it was the Islands biome who would end up victorious, as they continued fighting an ice opponent who could never get organized after the fall of their base. Ice also suffered from constant attacks from plateau groups since they had made themselves public enemy number 1 after invading others and declaring themselves the victors. The teams opposing them didn't exactly form a united front, as Islands, Plateau, the Anarchist, and Outcast factions all turned on each other after it became apparent that Ice was knocked out of the game. Ultimately, several of those players turned peaceful and would instead spend their time exploring the map, while Islands players returned to their homeland to celebrate. This was an ending similar to the previous event I hosted, where one team went on the offensive early only to get ganged up on by all of the survivors. Instead, the teams of this event did not stay peaceful with each other and called off truces between themselves to fight for the top spot, leaving the island's biome and select players who joined them as the sole victors.